Yule. What it is, your boy SK Brokoff, reporting to you live on location, 500 Pearl Street, New York, Manhattan, standing outside the federal building, where we have just concluded, where the prosecution has just concluded their closing argument in the United States of America versus Sean P. Diddy Combs. Alright? And to give you a summary of how I feel about leaving the courtroom, tomorrow the defense is going to have to go on. The way I feel after what I just talked from the prosecution, the defense is going to have to bring out down 28-3 Tom Brady, down 3-1 LeBron James to have a chance, because the prosecution came out swinging and they've laid a hell of a case down. To the point it's like, sheesh, is this over? Is it a wrap? Now that everything's over with, I've had a chance to review my notes. I can clearly and concisely go through things, so I'm gonna try to explain to y'all everything that went down. All right. So now, let's first start with talking about what happened yesterday with the predicates and everything they basically said thrown out. That was nothing. All that stuff was still in. Every bit of it. Like, to the point where I was in the courtroom literally sitting beside other attorneys who are, viewing it like everyone else, and they were baffled. Like, wait, this was thrown out. Like, why are you talking about this? Nah, all that stuff was in. Like, stuff like, instead of it being attempted kidnapping, just kidnapping. Like, it was like everyone was miffed. Like, wait, we thought they threw that out. Nah, all that stuff was in. Alright, so going past that. So now, let's just do a review. Start off. He has 5 charges, 5 counts he's up against. Count 1 is racketeering. Racketeering conspiracy, RICO. Alright. Count 2 is sex trafficking, Cassie. Count 3 is interstate prostitution, Cassie. Count 4 is sex trafficking, Jane Doe. Count 5 is interstate travel prostitution, Jane Doe. Alright. So Jane Doe and Cassie both have 2 charges apiece of sex trafficking and interstate prostitution. Alright, so now the RICO charge, she went down there. She was methodical with this thing, man. She was a pro. She was a pro's pro. She came out game face on. She was not playing. Alright. Sis was locked in. Alright. Sis was locked in and going at it. For RICO, give you a quick review on RICO. RICO has to be, hold on, get my notes. Alright, so for it to be RICO, they have to have 2 predicates for it to be RICO. 2 of 8 within a 5-year span. What up, Ike? And it doesn't matter, it could be 2 of the same ones twice, but it has to be 2 of these 8. Alright? The 8 were drug usage or distributing, kidnapping, arson, bribery, sex trafficking, interstate prostitution, forced labor, and tampering and obstruction of justice. So if they can prove any of those 2, they prove 2 of any of those, even if it's the same one twice, by law, that is RICO. Alright, so now, with that being said, make sure I want to tell y'all this. Alright, so now, the government's whole point is that Puff ran a criminal organization enterprise that consisted basically of 5 characters: Puff, KK, D-Rock, Bonds, Rube, and that's it. Now there was another lady named Tony Fletcher they put in there as well, but those main people are the people that the government says make up Puff's criminal enterprise, along with like 14 underlings, but those were the main people because those people came up every instance. Puff, Rube, D-Rock, Bonds, and KK. Those are his main conspirators, right? So now, for drugs. They started off with the drug usage. They went down from top to bottom, drug usage. Basically said that Puff used drugs to control Cassie and Jane Doe. In other words, he gave them drugs, kept them under the influence to get them to do his bidding, which was wild sexual acts or wild sexual fantasies that they, under sober minds, would not want to do. Okay, so D-Rock, oh, my bad. One person I left out, Fahim. Fahim was Puff's current and latest head of security. So add him to them as Fahim. So damn, basically they said Puff used D-Rock, KK, Fahim to get drugs for him, which include coke, meth, ketamines, oxycontins, Xannies, Mollies, Tootsie, Pisu, and GHB. Those are all the drugs they have documented that Puff used and got his co-conspirators to use as well. Okay, so now the quantity does not matter in this situation. Okay, quantity doesn't matter. They simply need to show and prove that Puff used these drugs, got people to get these drugs for him, and he gave them to other people. How much of it is, it doesn't matter legally, right? So now, they showed countless texts between Jane Doe, KK to get drugs, Guido, which is one of his drug dealers, and D-Rock, Fahim and Guido buying drugs. Basically, there's a text message basically where he was like, hey, Guido's like, big dude got paid his tab. Like, what's good? He owed me $2,000. And basically they showed him getting like Guido's a terrible drug dealer. Guido text messaging, your man owed me $2,000. They sent Guido $2,000. Guido screenshots the Cash App $2,000 and basically puts it in his chat that like, hey, because it's confirmation like, yes, I got the $2,000. Like, fam, you're selling drugs. Why are you documenting on text like receipts? Like, it's baffling. Like, oh my God, like, fam, like, Puff. I feel like Puff would have some more sophisticated drug suppliers. Like, you know, you text somebody a 3, and that's the code for I need this at this time. I felt it was way more sophisticated than it was, but he was definitely dealing with frankly, some goofs. Like, it was that bad. So, they showed text messages from Brendan Paul, KK. Basically, Brendan Paul saying that, hey, look, I need to get reimbursed for X, Y, and Z amount of drugs that I purchased. KK being like, you know where it's gonna come from. And basically, KK sending him the money, things like that. So yeah, quantity doesn't matter. So one pill, yeah, quantity doesn't matter. Quantity doesn't matter. So Marcus, so yeah, she made that very clear. So if somebody gave Puff 1 pill on Tuesday, then 4 months from now, somebody gave him like a blunt or some coke, that qualifies. That's a predicate. Like 2 times is all you need, and it qualifies. So in that situation, he's cooked. So it's like, damn, like I don't know how you get out there, because they just show like countless times. How you doing? They show countless times of him basically being like getting drugs, giving drugs. Cassie being like, you know, I was fucked up last night off the drugs. So like,
get the video.
Multiple counts. Multiple counts. All right, hold on. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, so like it was just endless people saying like they had drugs, like endless drugs. Like everybody literally had a case, from Mia to Cassie to Jane Doe to Brandon. Like countless people was like, either they got drugs for Puff, or Puff gave them drugs or paid them to get drugs in some capacity. Like countless people. So that's cooked. That I don't know how he's coming back from that one. That's cooked. All right. So now kidnapping. So now, all right. So go over the kidnapping stuff. So now, by law, kidnapping, you have to be taken by force, move a considerable distance, and it has to be against your will. So that's the 3 predicates for it to qualify as kidnapping. You have to be taken by force, you have to move what's called a considerable distance, and it has to be against the person's will. Alright? So that's what's gonna have to be. And she was not. Now I was trying to hide that lady. She had walked up on me. It was like I thought she was trying to press me or something. It's crazy people. It's New York. It's crazy people out here. I didn't know what she was doing. All right. So now, keep going. S. All right. So now, they went through a couple of cases for the kidnapping, right? All right. So now, hold on. All right. So now. They started off with the 2009 London Hotel Cassie incident. Basically, Puff. It was basically they had so they put on the screen. They had Cassie, London Hotel, and then they had the people who basically kidnapped her, which was Puff and Bonds. One of Puff's old security guards, right? So then they basically said that Puff and Cassie fought in the apartment, fought in the party. Puff stomped her in the face, beat her up bad, and Bonds made her go to the hotel. Now, if you remember from Cassie's testimony, Cassie said that she wanted to stay at the house, but Bonds made her go to the hotel. Now, mind you, I told you in the previous video that the prosecutor was adding sauce to everything. Like, she was using adjectives to describe this shit in the worst way possible, right? So now, she basically was like, Bonds made Cassie go to the hotel against her will. Bonds wouldn't let her leave because she wanted to go home and be her mom, but Bonds made her stay and said, absolutely not, you cannot leave. Yes, I do have my laptop. Yes, I do, April. So, on that, she basically like, that's kidnapping. So basically, he forced her to go to the hotel. He wouldn't let her leave. The hotel was a substantial place away, and she basically couldn't leave against her will. But he took her there by force. He wouldn't let her leave, and it was far away. So that was the three predicates that satisfied for kidnapping. All right. So the next thing they went through, kidnapping-wise, was a Capricorn Clark situation. All right. So it said Capricorn. So they had to put the screen up. They got Capricorn Clark on one side. Then they got Puff and Uncle Paulie on the other side, right? And that was a picture of Puff and his bow tie, which I thought was wild. But anyway, it was the New York law. So now, this happened in New York. So New York law for kidnapping is a little different. In New York, the person must restrict the person's movement. No consent from the person to be moved. You must intentionally move them, and must be unlawful. All right. And you also put them in a place where they may not be found. So you got to hide them out. So if you hide them out, that's part of like the predicate to be in New York. That's part of the predicate in New York for kidnapping. They must be put somewhere where they possibly won't be found. All right. So now they started with so they brought up the Capricorn Clark situation, where it's basically she was made to go do the lie detector test for 5 days, and now the prosecution was like, she was forced in this building for 5 days against her will. So that was like, so basically what I'm saying is, the prosecutor basically said that, hey, look, she was forced in this building against her will. She wanted to leave, but she was scared for her life. But in reality, we know that she left and came back every day of those 5 days. Like, she came for wherever hours each day, went home, came back, went home, came back. So this is what I mean by the prosecutors putting some real sauce and everything. Because the way she painted it in there, she was making it seem like they had Capricorn Clark tied up in a chair in a vacant room and was just sitting there for 5 days just answering questions nonstop. When in actuality, when we watched the testimony, she said like, hey, look, you know what I'm saying, I came there for 5 days straight, and they questioned me, and I answered all the questions. And when they asked her herself, they asked themselves, well, why did you stay? She's like, I wanted to prove to them that I wasn't like, I didn't do anything. I hadn't hide, so I want my job. So she admitted she voluntarily did it. So that one, I think, may not be like, people might be like, all right, that ain't it. That's not what you say it is. All right. The third kidnapping they put up was Capricorn Clark versus Puff and Rube. All right. So Capricorn Clark versus Puff and Rube. Alright, so now in this one, this is the Kid Cudi incident. So now what they say happened was that Puff and Rube pulled up the Capricorn Clark house. Puff popped in like, hey, where Cassie at? I know she with Cudi. Capricorn Clark plays dumb. Alright. Capricorn Clark plays dumb. Puff said, hey, let's go. We gotta go get dude. We gonna pull up on dude. Puff says, we have to go find him. I'm going to kill him. Capricorn Clark says, no, I don't want to go. Puff says, I don't give a fuck what you want to do. Get in the car. So at that point in time, they say that constitutes kidnapping. Alright. Now, if as a layman, I don't know about that one. Because that sounds like you talking to your friend being like, your friend be scared to go. It's like, bam, get in the fucking car. We gotta go, my nigga. Like, damn. Probably wouldn't call him any words. But yeah, bam, get in the car. We gotta go. Like, let's go. Like, kind of like egging our own, so to speak. Not really forced against the will, but kind of like, oh, we going, like type of thing. Like, we on the same team, fam. You can ride with this, right? So that was that case. Oh yeah, another funny thing. So like on the screen, it had Capricorn Clark coded Puff as saying, "Get dressed. We gonna kill this nigga," right? So the girl, she was like reading all the stuff, but when she got to that part, she was like, "Get dressed. We gonna kill Cudi." So she substitute Cudi in for nigga. So I was like, all right, you ain't. She said every other curse word it was, but when it came down to that N word, she was smart enough to switch it up. So I'm like, all right, you ain't lost your mind like that. All right. Oh, John, it's Torre. Oh man, there go Torre right there. I wonder if I get Torre to say so. I don't want to seem like a groupie. Let me see if I can get something. Torre, what's good, my G? What's going on, man? You got 15 seconds to give me a quick little split? Oh, okay. Take a beautiful lady to lunch. I ain't mad at that. I thought Torre was gay. No? Okay. I tried. Man, he ain't tried me. He was respectful. It was cool. He shot me shot. He ain't tried me. Alright. So here we go. Oh yeah, so she basically concluded that by saying like Capricorn Clark told Puff she didn't want to go. Puff said, "You're going to go." She said, "That's kidnapping." All right. So now to the arson. All right. So now they say on the arson it was the Kid Cudi car stuff. So basically they said Kid Cudi car caught fire, and basically it was Kid Cudi versus Puff and D-Rock and Rube, right? They got all three of them. So then it was basically like, alright, so yeah, it was like they show pictures of the Cudi car. She said like, you know, she said the defense is gonna say like, you know, there's no evidence that Puff did this, but of course he did it. Like basically he told Cassie at one point in time that he would blow up Kid Cudi car. And then basically later on, his car got blown up. Like, of course he did it. Yeah, also Cassie had sent an email to her mom telling her mom that Puff said that he would hurt Cassie and Cudi, and he would be out the country when it happened, and nobody would know about it. So it was like, dang, all right. So they basically saying like, you know, so basically she literally says, so with all that being the case, what are the odds that somebody else firebomb Cudi car? It can't be that wild of a coincidence. That's her words verbatim. All right. So that's the arson. Now the bribery. The bribery, they had Puff, D-Rock, and KK. Alright, they had Puff, D-Rock, and KK on the screen for the bribery. So now, when they had the bribery up there, they had what qualifies, what's the predicate for it to be a bribery. So now, it's a person gave or offered a bribe to a witness and an act with corrupt intent to persuade a witness to agree that the bribe would be unlawfully influenced. All right, so now they said after the beating, they showed a picture of the cat. They showed a picture of that video, that Cassie beating video, every chance they got. They had a video. They actually played like 5 minutes of it. They like showed a picture of it. They showed that every opportunity they had. Right? They want to drive that home. They drive that home bad about that video. Like they used that to the fullest extent. So now. Alright, so now, hold on. Stick with your boy. Alright, so basically, the dang, hold on. Oh yes, that picture as a monster. Yes, mind you now, this whole time, dog, Puff is slouched in the chair, head kind of down, staring into space. Like he got this look on his face that's like, man, I'm fucked. Like he looked sick. Like fuck, man. Like his lawyers in there, they pretty much for the most part got a straight face. They kind of holding the line as far as like poker face wise, but Puff, he's pushed back away from his desk, looking down like towards the ground, like blank stare, just like zoned out. His kids in there, the twins in there, they kind of looking back and forth at the screen. Like when I looked at them, when like they started showing the video and stuff like that, they looked at it. They weren't really phased that bad. Like maybe kind of like they had prepared themselves already about it, whatever the case may be. But they took it on the chin, so to speak, whatever the case may be. But getting back to the bribery, so they showing the video, and then they was basically like, hey, so they showed pictures of Cassie's face being messed up. They showed so basically they showed the dude Israel from the Brian Still's not the head lawyer. Brian Still sitting next to Puff. The head lawyer, in my opinion, man, he's shaky. I'll get that later though. Let me finish go through all the charges. So basically, they got the picture of Cassie's face being messed up. They show a picture of the dude Israel. So dude Israel was a security guard at the time. So Israel was the one who kind of like walked up after all the stuff had happened, like what's going on with the case may be. Evidently, they told Israel, well, Israel walked Puff back to the room, and basically what happened was Puff ended up giving Israel a handful of money, and basically they trying to say that was bribery right there, like him giving Israel a handful of money. In other words, Puff was worried about, and she broke down why Puff was worried about, like he wasn't just worried about his reputation, he was worried about getting arrested, because she showed text messages that Puff sent to Cassie directly afterwards, because Cassie wouldn't talk to him when she left. And his text message read out, call me. Next text message, call me now. Next text message, call, cops are here. Now cops wasn't there, but Puff is kind of gassed. He gassing her, basically trying to like manipulate her, like to feel sorry to call him, whatever the case may be. Call me, cops are here. Call me, help. Mind you, Cassie not responding to none of these messages. I'm about to be arrested. Then the big gun. Police arrested me. Now, mind you, she didn't respond to any of these messages, but they just used that to kind of show like how he was trying to manipulate her into answering the phone, whatever the case may be. She just refused to answer the phone. But so on the other bribery, they say KK and D-Rock tried to protect him. Like basically, KK tried to approach the security guard first herself, like trying to get the tape. Security guard basically told her like, you know, like he couldn't do nothing for her with the tape, and the tape did look bad. Then Puff got involved himself, talking to the guy Eddie. Puff talked to the guy Eddie, like, Eddie, you gotta help me get this tape. Eventually Eddie was like, figured out like, alright, I can get you the tape. It's gonna be 50 bands. And Puff was like, Eddie, you my angel. The crazy part, the ha-ha moment in the courtroom was that KK had Eddie say it in her phone as Eddie the Angel. Alright, call you back. I'm busy, Amy. Hey, so keep going. So now They said basically that, hey, when Puff was doing everything, he told him, hey, he gave him the money, and then once he gave him the money, he made him sign NDAs. And then once he made him sign NDAs, Puff told him don't make any big purchases, meaning that was showing that he was worried about police involvement, because who cares about who would basically make a big purchase be alert to? The police. So she was like, that shows right there that he was concerned about police involvement. Stop calling me. Alright, so now let's go further on. So now alright, so now that's that. So now, sex trafficking. Now the thing about sex trafficking that I was not aware of, it doesn't matter how many times they did it willingly. If they did it one time unwillingly, that constitutes sex trafficking. That was a oh shit moment. Alright. So now, for it to be sex trafficking, it had to meet these three spaces, these three predicates. Puff had to knowingly recruit, entice, harbor, or transport these women. He had to get them to do this stuff by force, fraud, coercion, or any combination of the two, where it be physical, financial, or mental harm, and it had to be interstate. So at any point in time in dealing with these two women, if they filled out if they had all three of those predicates in one incident, that's sex trafficking. It doesn't matter that he may have had 30 episodes where it's consensual. The one time where all three of these predicates are present, that's sex trafficking. Alright? So then she went through. About crazy life. Yeah, she said it's not about crazy. She said, the defense is going to try to tell you that, we prosecuting because it's a crazy sex lifestyle, something like that. She said it's not about that. It's about the federal law being upheld. What up, baby? You out? I see you tomorrow, baby. Got a little community out here. Got my whole gang out here, man. So now, they showed all the sex workers. It was 27. It's a lot. There's a lot of faces up there, and that was wild to me. Like, dang, like, what if that was like your underlying hustle job, like you was low key with it, and now all of a sudden your face is plastered on like for the world to see. Like, oh man, like, oh man, everybody see your boy out here, man. What you doing? All right, let me get to some point. All right, Puff and Jane. So basically, they said Puff MO was the same thing. He would love bomb the women to death, get them to fall deeply in love with him. Then he would make suggestive things about having sex with other men, and then he would introduce it to them. And we introduced it to them, they was like in a space where they couldn't get out of it. Right? So the first time Puff was with Jane, they got super high. And she said they was laying in the bed, and he casually asked her about it in conversation. She said she may be interested in doing it one time, and Puff looks like bet and set it up. It was on, and he got to it, right? Just like that. And so, from the first time, so when she talked about Jane, she read out several Jane's text messages talking about how she was complaining about hotel nights and how she wasn't really with it, how she didn't like it, how she didn't like it, how it was terrible making them to be. She started paying. Now on April 23rd, April of 23, he started paying Jane's rent. All right, so now that gets him extra. Boom. All right, I'm back. So now he basically was like, hold on, man, it's a lot, fam. Bear with your boy, it's a lot. All right, so now she read them text messages off. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so April of 23, he started paying her rent. So now basically she saying like Puff running game, like now it's how he gonna control her, because now he's paying her rent. So now he get to control. That's another element he got to control her to make her do what he wants him to do. All right. So now going off this, play voice message from Puff. Okay. They play the voice message from Puff, where basically him and Jane Doe have been arguing, and Puff was like, "Hey, baby girl, I don't know what's up with you, but you finna turn me off, and I'm finna distance myself from you in a second. Like, you not finna be doing acting crazy or kind of like not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like, you need to get on your job." Like, basically Puff talking fly to the girl, and she basically said that was Puff basically threatening the girl that she needed to do the freak offs, or if she didn't, that basically, you know, consequences were gonna be had without him basically saying it. One thing about Puff, I will say, he's super careful with his words every time he approaches some shit. Like, he has not once I seen got caught slipping saying something flagrantly. Well, no, I take that back. There was one time. We gonna get to that very shortly. All right, so now, but normally he's super careful with his words most of the time. All right, so now, Cassie lawsuit, right? So the Cassie lawsuit came out, and basically Puff, Cassie lawsuit came out. So Jane Doe and Puff get on the phone. So this is the conversation they had that's recorded, that Puff recorded on the phone. Now, the prosecution is saying that on this recorded conversation, Puff is trying to get Coach Jane Doe and get her to say basically that things they did were consensual, and that she liked it, and then she was down with it, and she wasn't forced to do anything, right? So that was his whole point of this conversation. Now, mind you, because she said that Puff is worried about getting indicted, Puff is having this conversation with Jane Doe on KK's phone, right? So now she's talking to Puff on KK's phone, and Puff is kind of like asking herself, like, yeah, you know, we both was like and stuff, right? You know, you both was kind of like into that type of stuff. We just two adults, whatever case may be. So the girl is flipping out. Like, I think I told y'all in my previous video before, like, this is the recording where it's like you hear, you're like, damn, man, like you feel bad for the girl, like, damn, like, dog, this sucks. Like, I'm so, like, damn, fam, I feel bad for the girl. So the same audio is playing, but now she made a point. Because now she was like, because before she didn't tell us that this was KK phone before, but now she's like, this is KK's phone. KK's phone she on. He was like, you hear that scribbling in the background, right? And they had said something about scribbling before. She was like, that was Puff and KK passing notes back and forth. So basically, KK, which for all intents and purposes, they saying is basically one of his co-conspirators, is basically they're in cahoots and they're passing notes back and forth, trying to run game on Jane Doe to see if they can get her to say something, do something X, Y, and Z. So they brought that up, like, damn, all right. So that was on that part of it. So now that's going towards sex trafficking. So now there was a trip to New York that Jane Doe did. The trip to New York, she found out Puff was with another girl. So she found Puff was another girl. She basically hit Puff up, was like, hey, I'm not coming no more. I'm canceling the trip because you got another girl. Let her do all that stuff that you want to do. I'm chilling. I'm cool. Evidently, basically, Puff hit her back like, nah, like, it ain't like that. Like, basically, Puff's sweet talk girl was like, you can come and just chill and we can just kick it, have something to eat, have some real romantic type shit. But she was like, as Puff is telling her, texting her this, he's also texting the people, the sex workers, like, hey, we gonna be here X, Y, Z time, X, Y, Z. So basically, they saying this is the fraud part, kind of like the lying coercion part. Like, yeah, he's telling her it's not gonna happen, but he's setting it up on his phone, literally in the same breath, like sending a message to her, like, hey, come over here. It's gonna be cool. We're just gonna have dinner. We're gonna hang out, X, Y, and Z. But on the same minute, send text messages to do like, hey, look, it's gonna happen at 8:30. Show up, be here, blah, 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 blah. So basically, she was saying like that's like the fraud coercion part about herself, right? So then she said like she got there to New York and she told him that she didn't want to have a freak off, but lo and behold, boom, she had a freak off with Puff. Matter of fact, she said he gave her some drugs, got her high, and then they had a freak off. All right. Oh yeah, but funny thing, she told Puff, she was like, she told Puff she didn't want to do freakouts anymore, and she was tired of her rent being paid, being used in her face as some type of like, it's basically strong on her by constantly reminding her that her rent being paid as a way to kind of like control her. Puff's response text message was, "Girl, stop." Oh, man. Puff's like, "Don't play with me." You know what time it is. Now, listen. So now, the bad one. I'm skip to the bad one. So now, the last one, the bad thing. Remember I told you Puff is generally very good with his words, right? So, Puff is, alright, so basically, it's after all the stuff he had with Cassie. It's after he's been arrested. It's after that shit. So now, they no longer have stuff at hotels. Now they're doing it at her house, his house. So now they're doing it at her house, right? They're at her house doing it. They're going to do one. She says they're having a drink, having a good time, and started arguing. Now, she don't really go into details what they're arguing about, but I remember from the testimony what the argument was about. The argument was about she was suspected Puff had been in Utah with another chick, and she just blew up on him about that shit, right? So she kind of like glosses over all the stuff that old girl did wrong, which she says legally don't matter. Like, it don't matter that she started the fight. It don't matter that, she was the aggressor. None of that stuff matters, right? So, really, she's right, she's glossing over it. So, she was basically like, basically, she tried to get away from Puff. Puff followed her, kicked in the room door, kicked in the bathroom door, kicked in the closet door, basically hit her. She went outside, she was gone, right? So she came back into the house, and basically they got to fight again. She said Puff punched her 3 times. Boom, boom, boom. In the temple, in the eye, and basically in the head. And basically it's fighting, and basically the sex worker was on the way over there. So basically the sex worker got there, and Puff made the sex worker wait in the other room. So basically she says her words of hope for Puff was, "This was wild." Puff was like, "You're not going to ruin this night for me. You're not going to ruin this." Alright? Go. So he beat her up. She on the ground. He's like, "You're not going to ruin this night for me." So he said, "Go out there and suck his dick and fuck him." Alright? Then she said, Jane Doe said she told Puff, "I don't want to." And Puff says to her, and they quote, "Is this coercion?" It's like, ooh. Like, when she said it like that, it kind of like everybody in the room kind of running like, oh man. Like, basically almost taunting the fact that he's basically cased up and charged right now with this stuff. And basically she says that she went in the other room and she did what she was told. Like, she gave dude head till he came in her mouth and she spit it out. They paid the dude his money, sent him on his way. So that was a sex trafficking charge. So it was like, boom, that's sex trafficking. It said, boom, that's it right there. Boom, sex trafficking. That's it right there. You don't need nothing else. That's sex trafficking right there. Alright, so then they went to Cassie. So then they put Cassie on the screen, and they put up Puff, KK, D-Rock, Bonds, Fahim. They put up everybody. And they basically said that Puff knew what he was going to do with Cassie from the jump. They said Puff told people that Cassie was moldable. Puff flexed on Cassie to Capricorn. So basically, him and Capricorn was talking. He called Cassie to come out the room. He basically gave Cassie a Simon Says like little lesson, like walk here, walk back, pick that up, give it to me, put that there, walking forward. All right, go back inside. He kind of like, see, I got control over her. Like basically showing her like I have full control over this girl, right? So now they go through all the stuff, like they lay out how Puff controlled her whole life. Like they gave an incident where he was at like a video shoot for her of some sort, and basically Puff spazzed on the people there because they didn't have her hair the way he wanted it done. And he spazzed, he threw something at some people, right? They said Cassie recorded over 100 songs, but only released 1 album, never put out any music. And the music she did put out was a mixtape that was not paid. Like, it was just like a mixtape put out there for no reason. All right. They pointed out Puff tried to extort Cassie family for $20,000, basically because he was mad that Cassie had hooked up with somebody else, and he wanted his money back. And they made it a point to show that he didn't need this money, because they showed his bank documents where he had $3.5 million in profit that month, and $3.4 million going out in expenses. So basically showing like he had steady cash flow. He did not need his money. He simply was doing it to strong arm this girl. Right. This whole time, Puff is staring into space. Puff is slouched in his seat, staring off into space with the blankest look ever, with a look that says, "Man, I'm fucked." Like, it looked like, I felt, I mean, he's been locked up for some months now, so of course he probably felt bad for him. But in that moment, I felt bad for Puff. Like, dang, fam, like, damn, my G, like, dang, it sucks to be you right now. All right. They brought up a whole bunch of things Cassie would say. Basically, they said Cassie was scared of getting beat. Like, she was getting beat all the time by Puff. She was scared to say no to him because she was scared to get beat up or she hurt. Like, she has a quote where she said, "If I make the wrong face, next thing I know, I'm getting hit in my face." So she was like, she just couldn't operate, couldn't do nothing because she was just scared of she was gonna get beat up. All right. Inner circle. Basically, they showed the inner circle. Basically, Bonds, Rube, D-Rock, KK. Basically, making sure that none of them would let her leave. Like, she wanted to lead the relationship. Oh yeah, she wanted to lead the relationship, but those 4 people worked in cahoots to make sure she wouldn't leave. Like, it was one point in time, she told him, like, "Hey, I need my keys to my house. Like, you keep trying to come over here, can you get my keys?" And she was like, "Nah, we can't do that. We can't take keys from Puff. Like, we can't do that." So basically, all of them were conspiring to keep her under his whim. All right. They went to the Intercontinental Hotel incident. Basically, they showed the text message where she was like, "Baby, I want to freak off so bad, but I don't want to mess myself up. What do I do?" They basically said she said that because she was worried that Puff was going to basically spaz on her. Because Puff had started the conversation like, "I'm proud of you." She's like, I want to do a freak off. And they said she's sitting that so Puff wouldn't like escalate things. And then her next text message was, "I don't want you to think I don't want to. It's just that I don't want to mess myself up." And they said that "I don't want you to think I don't want to" part was her basically pleading with him on some shit like, don't think I don't want to do it, but it's just not convenient right now. Like, trying to like talk him down. Like, she was scared. Basically, they said she was scared to say no. So that was her way of like, kind of hoping she could get no out of him. All right, they showed the video again of her walking down the hallway, getting beat up. And Puff, they broke that down. They basically said that they had just finished one session, and Puff was trying to pull her back in for another session. Oh yeah, she said, funny thing she said in the courtroom, she was like basically Puff was like a raging lunatic. Like, he's walking around pulling her, desperate to get her back in the room to finish this freak off, even though he's outside in a towel looking ridiculous. Like, she called him ridiculous in the courtroom. Everybody laughed. It was kind of funny. I ain't gonna lie to you. But if I was Puff, I was like, "Damn, don't play with me like that." Alright. Yeah, she said Puff was dragging her back to the room to finish a freak off. So she basically said like, oh, it's the other thing she said about the freak off. Even if the act isn't finished or completed, the fact that it's attempted is still sex trafficking. So the fact that he's pulling her back to the room to finish the freak off, that was sex trafficking. All right. Oh, okay. So now another time with Cassie, he was in New York with this sex worker Daniel Phillips. Puff, she said Puff, they were in, Daniel Phillips and Cassie was in the room together. Cassie was looking at something on the internet, on the laptop. Puff asked Cassie to get her something. This is Daniel Phillips' testimony. Puff asked Cassie to do something for him. Cassie told Puff, "Hold on a second. I'm finishing something up real quick. Like she was on the computer looking up something. Daniel Phillips said Puff came in there, threw a bottle at the wall by her, walked up to her and said, "Bitch, when I tell you to come here, you come here now." And basically shook her the hell up. And then, matter of fact, no, he said he drugged her. Puff drugged Cassie did into the next room, and he couldn't see anything, but he heard her screaming and yelling as she was getting slapped around. Then when she came out the room, she was shaking up a bit, and then Puff was like, "All right, we can start now." But in that incident, Daniel Phillips said he couldn't perform because he said he was still blowed off of seeing that he could catch the vibe. Like, nah, I'm cool. Like, he couldn't do nothing. So they ended up paying him his money and basically letting him go about his way. But in that moment, like, he was done. Like, he was like, I couldn't do nothing. But they said even though he didn't actually finish the deed, that was still sex trafficking. Just because all the intent was there and all the other predicates was there. Finishing the act did not count. You don't need to finish the act for it to be sex trafficking. That's what they say. All right. That's that. All right. On her 29th birthday, she was chilling with her friends. Puff went to a party, a freak off. She was like, maybe later. I'm chilling with my friends right now. And Puff was like, nah, I want freak off now. Basically, Puff hemmed her up and was like, freak off now, bitch. And like stronged on her. Sex trafficking again. Alright. Interstate prostitution. That's the next charge they went through. That's been a given. They basically saying like, look, the feds ain't gonna give you some type of BS charade, like just because the people were hired as they were hired as entertainers, not prostitutes. That's just BS. She basically said that's BS. They were actually hired as sex workers, and she laid out 30 different damn slides of people basically paying payments, text messages, so forth and so on. So she laid the fuck out of that shit. So that shit was laid out pretty tight, right? For Jane, for the interstate prostitution, they show the same thing. A bunch of text messages, bunch of receipts. Dude Cabal, they show Cabal being flown from Atlanta. Cabal from the A. So Cabal flew from Atlanta to LA to Miami to New York. All right, we'll link up with him with Jane. The dude Paul flew to Turks and Caicos, New York and LA to link up with him. All right, and they text Paul from Puff phone. They show text to Paul from Puff phone like directly, like Paul was good. I'm gonna pick you up, or can you come now? Can you come now? If you come now, I'll send you an extra tip type of vibe. So they got Paul there too. Alright. KK set up Wild King Nights and helped provide transportation. So that goes to the RICO and the interstate prostitution. Alright. Forced labor. Basically for forced labor, they said that the conspirators obtain labor or service from another. Conspire, use force or threat of force resistance. 3, knowingly conspired. Yeah, knowingly conspired. So basically, he knew he put that together. And basically, they said that Mia, Cassie, and Jane were all forced labor. Basically saying that the freak offs themselves were forced labor because they lasted from anywhere from 18 hours to instances where it was 3 to 4 days. And all these instances, the girls said they got UTIs. They got UTIs weekly. Cassie said she was made to have sex on a UTI, and it was very painful. She says horrible, it burned. And Puff would say stuff like, "You're not getting tired of me, are you? You got, come on, let's finish strong. Come on, you almost there. Come on, finish. Come on, we'll keep this going." Like really coaching them up doing this type of shit, right? Like really gassing on that type of thing. So that's what they have for the forced labor. Mia, same thing, forced labor. Basically had Mia on the stream versus D-Rock, Puff, KK. Basically, they said Puff sexually assaulted her a few times. He was violent with her, threw her against the wall, threw stuff at her. They admitted Mia stayed her job because she loved Puff, but she was also getting abused. All right. Forced labor, Capricorn Clark. It was Capricorn Clark versus Paulie Puff Daru. He threatened her in Central Park when he first hired her, saying like, "Hey, you should work for Suge. if you try some funny shit, like we'll ghost you. The lie detector incident and the Kid Cudi incident. So those are the forced labor with Capricorn Clark. Witness tampering. Jane Doe and Mia basically Puff with everything shit hit the fan. He tried to kind of horse chain Doe into not like, making a move. The phone conversation that was witness tampering, and then with Mia, D-Rock hit her when everything hit the fan, and it was like, hey, you know, when Puff and Cass used to fight, that's just normal couple stuff, right? Like trying to horse her into saying stuff. And at that point in time, I guess Mia nutted up and kind of like, nah. Puff reached out to her too, but when Puff reached out to her, basically kept his words bland, but they showed text messages from like D-Rock would text Mia, and then he would text Puff what Mia told him in the text message, and lay back and forth. So they would basically show like text message to Mia, text message from D-Rock to Puff, like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, showing that that D-Rock basically working for Puff. Then they said the venue, all this had happened in New York. They basically showed all the incidents happened in New York at some point in time and fashion. All 5 of them, boom, boom, boom. I didn't write down most notes for that. Then the closing sentence was, Puff used his inner circle and his foot soldiers with one job, protect him, help him commit his crimes. He used his money and fame to get away with it. It's time to find him guilty. It's time to find this defendant guilty. It's the rest of their case. Like I said, it ain't look good. It ain't look good at all. Granted, the defense goes tomorrow. So the defense could come with some Tom Brady, LeBron James 3-1 versus Warriors energy tomorrow. But man, right now, my speculation, I'm 75-25 Puff guilty on all charges. And I was the one telling y'all for the longest I thought he was going to get off. Off of what I saw today, I'm saying 75% Puff guilty all charges. But we will see tomorrow what the defense brings to the table. Now, I will tell you, Puff lead attorney, he hasn't impressed me. He's a stutterer. Now, I'm a stutterer too. But he's a bumbling stutterer. Like he's bumbling stuttering type of thing. Bumbling. Like he crosses the words. He never seems very confident. He's not very charismatic. He has no riz. Older white guy, glasses. Like I would hope they would have called an audible and let Brian Steele do it. But apparently he's going to present it tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see. It's starting to rain a little bit up here. Everybody skated out. I'm finna put my raincoat on. I'm gonna tap in with y'all in the morning with the defense. See what the defense can come with. See how this thing go, man. SK Broke off signing out.